Atlas Boeing 767 normal checklists. Pre-flight checklist. Captain. Working brake. Set. Oxygen. Tested 100%. Flight instruments. Checked. Altimeters. Blank, blank feet. Fuel control switches. Cut off. PDSC. Completed. Verification flight procedures. Completed. Pre-flight checklist. Captain. Complete. Pre-flight checklist. First officer. Oxygen. Tested 100%. Flight instruments. Checked. Altimeters. Blank setting, blank feet. Forward cargo air conditioning. Off. Pre-flight first officer. Complete. Before start checklist. Captain. Flight docs and tail number. Checked. Fuel quantity. Blank planned, blank checked. Cabin. Ready. Passenger signs. On. Doors. Closed. Windows. Closed and locked. MCP. V2 blank. Heading blank. Altitude blank. Takeoff thrust reference. Checked. If pilot flying, takeoff speeds V1 blank, VR blank, V2 blank. If pilot flying, CDU pre-flight completed. Trim. Blank units. Green band. 0, 0. Taxi and takeoff briefing. Complete. Red anti-collision lights. On. Before start checklist. Captain. Complete. Before start checklist. First officer. Windows. Closed and locked. Takeoff thrust reference. Checked. If pilot flying, takeoff speeds V1 blank, VR blank, V2 blank. If pilot flying, CDU pre-flight completed. Recall checked. Transponder set. PCAS off. Before start checklist. First officer complete. Before taxi checklist. Captain. APU on or off. Engine anti-ice on or auto or off. Auto brakes RTO. Flight controls checked. Ground equipment clear. Before taxi checklist. Captain complete. Before taxi checklist. First officer. Left and right isolation valves off. Pax auto. Recall checked. Ground equipment clear. That completes before taxi checklist. First officer. Before takeoff checklist. Captain. Flaps blank planned, blank checked. If pilot flying, takeoff departure review complete. If pilot flying, engine failure procedure breached. Before takeoff. Captain checklist complete. Before takeoff. First officer checklist. Flaps blank plan, blank checked. If pilot flying, takeoff departure review complete. If pilot flying, engine failure procedure breached. Cabin notified. Transponder TARA. Weather or terrain selected. Before takeoff. First officer checklist complete. For a runway change, complete the boxed items, which are as follows. From the before start checklist. MCP V2 blank heading blank altitude blank. Takeoff thrust reference, check. Takeoff speeds, V1 blank, VR blank, V2 blank. Trim, blank units, green band, 0, 0. From the before takeoff checklist, flat, blank planned, blank check. Takeoff departure review completed. Engine failure procedure brief. That completes the items required for runway change. After takeoff checklist, all pilot monitoring items. APU, on or off. Center fuel pumps, on. Pack, auto. Landing gear, off. Flaps, up. Altimeters, at transition altitude, QNE set. That completes the after takeoff checklist. Descent checklist. Pilot monitoring. Pressurization, landing altitude, blank. Recall, checked. Auto brakes, blank. Landing data, VREF, blank. Minimums, blank. Verified by pilot flying. Approach briefing, complete. Descent checklist, complete. Approach checklist. Both pilot flying and pilot monitoring. Altimeters, blank. Landing checklist. Pilot monitoring. Cabin, notified. Flat, blank. Pilot flying, landing gear, down. Speed brake, armed, completed by the captain. Landing checklist, complete. Shutdown checklist. Captain. Parking brake, set. Fuel control switches, cut off. Passenger signs, off. Hydraulic panel, set. Fuel pumps, off. Flat, up. Engine anti-ice, off. Auto. Red anti-collision light, off. Weather radar, off. IRS mode selectors, off. CPDLC used, yes or no. Complete secure checklist for the CPDLC. That completes the shutdown checklist for the captain. Shutdown checklist, first officer. Transponder, standby. Cockpit voice recorder, not applicable or pulled if there was an incident. That completes the shutdown checklist for the first officer. The secure checklist to be performed prior to leaving the aircraft or when CPDLC was used. Captain, emergency lights off, FMCs reset. That completes the secure checklist for the captain, the secure checklist for the FO. Window heat off, cargo heat off, forward cargo air conditioning off, back off. This completes normal checklist.